Hey everybody, how's it going? Alright, sorry about that. So, today I'm going to draw the air screamer from Silent Hill 1, which on my first part of my playthrough last night was one of the biggest problem enemies from me, and it liked to keep kicking me in the head, which is pretty amusing. So I'm just kind of pulling up some different images and stuff like that for it. And then I thought I had the description pulled up, but I think the pictures from Silent Hill, the actual game, will be okay because that gives me some room to kind of interpret it a little bit and make it a little bit weird. All right. So lately, I've liked to draw with these big crystal pens. They have really good line quality. They're super smooth, um, and they can do a lot of different colors and stuff like that. Especially on this paper, this kind of like textured paper. I don't remember what it's called. Oh, there we go. Strathmore Tone Tan. It's really awesome. It looks really cool. I can show. I've been using a lot of markers and stuff on it. So this is one I did with these pens, these kind of cheap markers. I got these alcohol markers on Amazon for like 17 bucks. There were like, I don't know, 40 or 50 of them, which was pretty cool. They've been a lot of fun to draw with, so I figured I'd keep doing that while I kind of learned how to use them a little bit better. I drew this with those pens and some jelly roller pens. I've also got white jelly roller to do like highlights and stuff. I think that might be the only substantive drawings that I've done in here. But okay, so usually I like to start out with like colored lines to do kind of like the like a comic book style sort of framework for the character, and then I'll go back in with black to do the better lines, and then I'll start adding these markers for colors and stuff like that, and then I'll go back in with the jelly roller to add in any white highlights and stuff, and we'll see how far I get today with this. I'm hoping to get this one done at least on this stream. And then once I'm done, I'll post all the videos to YouTube as well, just so there's kind of two spots for it. Maybe they'll be entertaining to watch. But all right, so I will start with the air screamer. I know it basically just looks like a weird, fleshy, veiny pterodactyl with kind of humanish legs, but weird, funky feet that it likes to kick you in the face with. So I think I'll start with kind of sketching out. It has kind of a rib cage that's a little bit visible. I don't know how visible that is. Hopefully it's kind of visible, but you'll be able to see as I kind of add more stuff in. And it's got a very long head, so I'll kind of build up where its neck would meet and then get the head going. Draw kind of like a vertebrae sort of thing. And we'll get its funky head in there. It's kind of long and beak-like, and it's got kind of a weird nose structure here. I saw the description in the game, and it almost like described it as having fish-like eyes. So I'll just kind of like make a big circle here to see how that goes, and then I'm gonna do some things here. It's kind of ridged in a lot of places. It's got kind of a weird mouth. It almost looks like a goofy, like, dinosaur there. But I'm going to kind of add some different details and stuff as I go and kind of try to make it a little bit more menacing than the version in game. So I'll just start with that and kind of go from there and kind of increase some different things on it. I give it some placement for some teeth. Give it kind of a scowl. it some stuff kind of, maybe an 8 coming down out of its mouth. Kind of dead, lifeless looking eyes. Alright, and now, let's see here. Well, we've got his wings, obviously, but they're kind of different from bat wings and stuff like that. I don't know if that's just because they maybe were a little bit limited in their graphics. So I'm going to do kind of like more of a thing like this. Kind of a chicken wing sort of thing, make it look weird. Silent Hill creatures are all about being strange and unnerving. Give it kind of a thing like that. And then it likes to kick, so I'm going to kind of do, it doesn't have much of a sort of a belly area. It's very skeletal looking. So I'm going to kind of do this and then get its pelvis kind of drawn in, and then it's got its tail. And then I'm going to attach the legs here, and let's see here, how are we going to do that? Kind of draw like just a line to exhibit the leg for now, and then get the other leg going. I think I'll make that one kind of go more up like that. Kind of like it's almost at an angle, like it's coming at something. And then its wings, let's see here. All of the stems kind of breach out from these elbow areas. And I kind of go like this. And then about that. Kind of that. I think instead of doing these finger structures, I'll kind of follow this way. They'll end in these weird things like this. And we'll kind of do that same thing. One, two, three. Okay, so they had 3 and then the main structure. So we'll start kind of like that. We'll get kind of a funky pterodactyl bat wing going. Kind of add more detail here. And these don't have to be perfect. I just kind of want to get the lines in so I can have kind of a basic form and then go in and kind of add more later. So yeah, same thing on the other side, more or less. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So those are about like that. Get one going there, one going there, and another one come out this way. Let's use insert that. Just going to kind of go in and kind of refine some different details and stuff like that as I go. And we kind of had these webs coming off like this, and we'll just go like that. And I can sketch through because I'm going to go through, oh whoops, that doesn't really match up with the other side as well. And I like to work with pen because if I do make mistakes, I kind of just have to work with them. And it kind of makes me sort of learn a little bit more with my drawings. So I'm just going to add some more details as I go, and I kind of want to mess with the face a little bit more. And give it some like harder edges and some weird different little aspects to it. Start adding some teeth details. And I'll probably highlight those a little bit more with the Bic pen later on, that way they stand out a bit better. But I'll get some of this like nasty stuff hanging from its mouth, maybe that it killed. I know on my stream last night these guys were driving me nuts. Just gonna make the eyes a little bit like glassy and dark later on. Alright, so I haven't added much detail into the feet, and I did make the feet a little bit more monstrous than it seems like they look in the game file version of it. I thought that would make it a little bit more interesting, because they were pretty limited with the number of polygons they had back then. I know the version that's in the newer version, the I think it's Shattered Memories, has a completely different look, where like the jaw here kind of splits open. And maybe if I get to that game eventually, I'll do a different drawing of that. So let's see here. He's got his kneecaps here. He's got weird kind of humanish knees, and then he would kind of have some muscles in the legs. I'm just gonna kind of sketch in a form for these. Okay. And so I'll try to bring that over here into the other leg as well, because I kind of just had a lot of placeholder in for this. Let's see, this is when that was here, so I think I was going to make it about here that the leg came from, to make it a little bit different of a little bit different positioning, so it looked cool perspective-wise. And I made the nails a little bit more. Let's see here for the base of the foot. Got this here. I know it looks like probably a big jumble of lines right now, but I do the lighter sketching lines, and then I'll go through and add even more, just to kind of add more line depth to it. That way it's a little bit more obvious later on, and then when I go back in with my black pen, it'll look a lot better. Oh yeah, we're gonna stop changing. So I've got this here, and we're gonna do kind of a claw there. Kind of go into the hub of the foot, and I'm gonna darken this here. Alright, and then it looks like his pelvis bone was almost like visible in the game. So I'm gonna I'll add some little muscles here for his legs. And then I keep saying his, it's whatever it is. So we've got that structure, kind of like that in there. Make it a little bit more bony here. Darken up these legs and get some stuff in here, little details. And then I'm gonna get his tail in, and his tail is literally just like triangle in the game file version, or the model. So I'm gonna make it a little bit different, same general shape, but since we can do a little bit more detail than they could in the 90s in an in-game graphic, I kind of continue this like skeletal vertebrae theme down through this, and then still kind of make it almost like blade-like, but I'm gonna continue some of that detail into here, so it's a little bit gives it some more depth. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of fill in the chest a little bit more, since I just put like a basic, rib cage in there. So we've got kind of the hub here where those all go together, and then I'll just kind of start adding some rib details in, and then I'll go in and fill in a little bit more. I'm not going to make it completely skeletal, because he is very like pink and veiny and kind of weird. So I'm going to keep a little bit of musculature here. I'm going to go to the arms a little bit. He's got little creases here in the game version. I kind of make him look like weird and muscly, and almost like he's made out of skin and bones and veins and muscles, and just kind of gross. So we'll have some musculature kind of branching off into those arms. And then he'll probably have a collarbone here, I would assume. So we'll keep the shape of those ribs in here as we go through, kind of make him look like he's very emaciated and gross. Keep some skin flaps on there for his wings. And then, alright, so it looks like there were a lot of veins and stuff coming on his wings. I'm going to look kind of at some different pictures here just to see what that might look like. There were either veins or tears. Actually, some of them might have been tears. So just add some more jagged lines here. Make these almost more like finger-like, like a bat, but maybe grosser. Yeah, a little bit more like flappiness here. Give it almost like finger-like webbing a little bit further up. Because I feel like a lot of the creatures that are in Silent Hill are almost like warped versions of people. Well, except for the dogs, I guess. But I don't see very many pterodactyls in real life, so I would assume it's also almost like a warped human. It's been turned into some like demonic creature or otherworldly creature, however that works. Get a little bit of detail here. And I'll go in and I'll refine these shapes even further once I get to my black pen. We're going off the page a little bit, but that's okay. That's tears. Alright, I'm going to continue that over this way. Maybe should come up this way a little bit more. I think that'll look better once I get some more stuff in there. Alright, so add some more details in here to his neck to make it almost like more segmented. Alright, cool. That looks pretty decent, I think. And I'm going to go in and I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of like hatching, which are just like a bunch of lines, just to kind of add some rudimentary shading in for now. I've kind of got this coming down. I feel like that would create some shading. And let's see. Oh yeah, we gotta do color going on this side too. I almost forgot about that. And this next gonna connect into here. Alright, I think that's a good start for the line work. So, let's see. Actually, let me get some more detail here. Alright. Alright, so then my next step is I usually go in with the black pen, and same thing, same bit crystal, and then I kind of clean up the line work with that. The pink lines will still be there and be visible, but once I start to add in some of these markers and stuff like that, it'll take on a lot cooler look. So yeah, I'm going to go in and kind of update the line work more. And if I see anything that looks kind of strange or that I didn't like when I first did it, then I'll kind of fix that as I go. And sorry if this camera isn't good enough to capture much detail. I ordered one. It came in and it was actually worse than the one that I used to stream with last night. So I think the next time I do this, I'll try to see if I can do it a different way. Hopefully it's decent enough to kind of see what's going on though. So yeah, I'll be adding in more black line work like this and just kind of making things look more like I wanted when I was doing my pink sketch. Get some details in there for the teeth. I'll add them from the top a little bit more this time. I want to make a little bit of variation in the teeth. That way they look a little bit less ridging it a little bit more like monstrous and kind of Silent Hill, kind of Silent Hilly. Things are never like completely symmetrical with Silent Hill monsters. It seems like there's always something kind of like weird with them, like they're just kind of malformed, which I think is a really cool aesthetic. So we'll get some going here. Get some more detail in the teeth here and start kind of drawing in the gross stuff hanging out of his teeth. Probably humans, but you know. Alright, and I'm just going to keep going on this. I think that's coming up. Yeah, I know. It's. I figured that was the one that would be the best one to draw since I had the most experience with that one last night. He's mid-air kick kind of pose. Hey, Calic, not too bad. How you doing today? Or Mayor Munchkin, I'm sorry. I'm bad about that. I still call people by what I know them as. Some more details of those weird, like, muscly parts here. And skin flaps, I think, is what I would call them. Let's see. Let me adjust these ones a little bit more to match better. Hopefully you guys can see well enough with this camera for now. Does the detail look at least decent enough to see kind of what I'm doing? Hopefully. Hey Christian, how's it going? I'm glad that looks okay so far. Alright, so since I've already got all the pink line work done, I'm just going in with my black pen and adding more details. And then after I get this step done, I'm going to move on to my kind of cheap Amazon alcohol markers that I really like. They were like 17 bucks for like a pack of, I don't know, like 30. They're not Copic level because those are like the really high end, super nice ones, but like, I don't know, I love these ones. I'd rather spend 17 bucks on something that I'll use the crap out of than something that I have to like worry about if I'm wasting just kind of sketching and figuring things out. And actually, before that step, I'll probably go in and darken some of the lines even further on the black ones, but I just kind of want to discover how I want the lines to look a little bit more, since the pink ones are kind of placeholders, and then these ones will be the more permanent ones. See, like, I'll get to a point and I'm like, I don't really like how that went kind of up here instead, so I'll take it down a little bit and then change it. And since it's pink, it's not as obvious, but it's okay because that kind of weird sketchy quality is really cool looking on this paper. Add some shape to his calf muscles. I figure if he's gonna be kicking people, he probably has. They look pretty skinny in the in-game model, but you know, he's probably got okay calves for kicking. I mean, he killed me enough times, so you know. Alright, then we'll get this weird pelvis structure in a little bit more. So how's everybody's Sunday been going? Hopefully good. Well, that's good that it was slow. Mine hasn't been too bad. I've been feeling kind of poopy today for some reason. I don't know if it's just because I streamed for so long yesterday and I'm not used to doing that. And like talking because I feel like I was probably talking a lot so that I maybe made it a little less boring, hopefully. But not too bad. Mostly just kind of boring trying to figure out my camera setup for this. Because my other camera wasn't working out so well. So this camera we're on right now, it's a Logitech from like 2012, and for some reason the quality of this is it's better than this other one that I got. I don't know where it is, but it was someone that was on Amazon for like $60, and there was a coupon to make it cheaper. So I was like, oh, that's got to be a good deal, right? But it's kind of garbage. So I'm gonna send that back if I can. A little bit of like caved in look to where the rib cage is, since this is a very like fleshy and bony and muscly creature. Well, good. I hope it was at least entertaining yesterday. Because it was a lot of fun playing a game I've never played before, especially an old one. Because the old ones, they give me I don't know, they give me a lot of nostalgia. Even if I didn't play them, it still kind of takes me back to that era where I really started to get. Well, I guess I've always been into gaming since I was a little kid. Because we had a Nintendo even when I was little, and I was obsessed with Mario and Zelda and then Final Fantasy, but I've always been a big wimp, so I haven't ever played any horror games. So Silent Hill has been pretty fun, and the very '90s graphics and stuff like that. I love that. You had to sneak games when your parents weren't looking. Man, that sucks. My mom got annoyed if we played games too much. We only had a Nintendo most of my life. Oh, the horror games. Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah, I kind of wonder if maybe my mom didn't let me play them, but she was okay at paying attention to what we played for the most part. I still snuck games through like Duke Nukem 3D and stuff like that I probably shouldn't have been playing at the age of like 10 or 11 or whatever I was, but none of the horror stuff got through. Since I think that was even before some of the rating systems and stuff. Let's see here. Kind of want the structure to change just a little bit, I think. I haven't really drawn. Let's see here. I think the last time I drew was maybe a week or two ago, so I feel like I'm probably getting rusty again. So this isn't the best, but I think it's okay for now. I think as I do these more, because that's part of why I want to do these on like a weekly basis, like play whichever game on Saturday and then maybe draw for like an hour or however long it takes me on Sunday. Kind of makes me do better or kind of relearn how to draw things again properly after spending like a long time not doing it. I don't know if I'll draw all of them. It kind of depends. I think I'll do one each week. Um, if I was faster, I could probably add more of them into the picture. But I think I'll just do one. And actually, now that I look at this, I probably should have drawn it with the paper sideways like this, but that's okay. But I think next week I'll see if if you guys are watching next week, I'll see which one you might think would be a good one to draw. I feel like those weird little kids with the knives would be kind of cool because they've got weird, almost like worm, like lamprey type faces. And then they're, I don't know, they kind of have the same kind of like emaciated, fleshy bodies. That might be kind of cool. And I kind of like drawing stuff like that anyway, because a lot of my monsters and stuff like that are very like bony and kind of armored, but also have exposed muscle tissue and stuff like that, just because it's, I just really like how that looks. That, and eventually I want to do like a, I want to try to figure out how to do some better 3D modeling and stuff like that over time, and hopefully try to use like Unity or something to make a game, like a horror type game, because I super love horror movies and I love monsters. It's just I've always been a big wiener my whole life, so I never really played horror games. I don't know why, because they are like everything that I like. I guess maybe because they maybe add a little bit too much stress. And most of the time when I play a game, I try to de-stress. Especially with stuff like the old Final Fantasy games. I was obsessed with those. Bo can tell you. I was obsessed with those, like Final Fantasy. Oh, I don't know, like 3, 4, 5, and 6. Especially the ones that were on Super Nintendo. I got super into like try to replicate some of that stuff in like RPG Maker back in the day. But those type of games, I don't know. They kind of sucked me in a lot. Even some of those creatures though were almost like horror related. So they had some creepy parts in some of those games, and it was awesome. And then some of the like undead um, dragons, the different zombies and stuff. Um, yeah. So even though there were games that had that kind of stuff, they still didn't stress me out as much as probably horror games did. But I really want to gain an appreciation for them now, so I figured it would be fun to play them and then also draw stuff from them since it's already stuff that I like. So I think the next one that I'll do after Silent Hill 1 will be Silent Hill 2. I'm kind of looking forward to that one because I feel like it's a little bit, probably a little bit better streamlined than Silent Hill 1. I still have never played it. I've watched Claudia play it a few times. I actually owned the original like PlayStation 2 version that apparently is super expensive now, and I had owned it for, I don't know, probably 15 years, I think. I don't remember exactly when that came out. And I never played it. And then Claudia was all about that because it was like a specific edition that had some like extra endings and stuff on it. Easter eggs in Silent Hill 2. I feel like that one will be cool to get to, but just trying to go back and play through some of the old stuff like that gives me an appreciation for how much games have also gotten a little bit better with, um, well, obviously graphics, but that doesn't, graphics have never really mattered to me. Um, but just like their quality of life, I guess, sort of things. Like the tank controls on Silent Hill 1, I feel like I can never aim in the right direction. Oh, thank you. So I think I'm going to go back in and I'm going to get some of these lines a little bit darker, and then I will move on to my coloring phase, which is just using those markers. Oh, dude, since you said that, I almost want to do like the remastered version of Ocarina of Time. Do a playthrough of that. I miss that. I don't know. I haven't played that game in forever, and I mean, you know, because I'm pretty sure yours was the one that I borrowed back in the day. That that game has always held a massively huge space in my heart. I bet that would be painful to watch on stream, but I feel like maybe, unless they've changed things in the newer version to make it a little bit harder, that maybe I would remember some of it, even though I don't think I've played through it since um, probably college. Because I got one of those GameCube CDs that had, or DVDs, the collector's edition that had like all the old ones on it, and then it had like Zelda 1, Zelda 2 on NES, and then Ocarina of Time, and then it also had Majora's Mask, and they weren't like remastered or anything, but they had the GameCube controls that you could use on them, and I played through them on that, and that was awesome. So I feel like the 3DS version where the graphics are increased and I don't know what other changes they might have made to it. I know with Majora's Mask they made a couple of changes to make it a little bit less annoying, kind of like they did with Wind Waker when they remastered that. They kind of made the boat section take a little bit less time. Now that I think about it, even Zelda has a lot of like horror related stuff in it, like the Redeads. Oh man, I remember the first time playing Ocarina of Time, running into one of those, and the scream and the fact that you couldn't move was just terrifying. Oh, Wolfos? Yeah, those were pretty. I guess they were really hard to fight, weren't they? Because they kind of were fast, and then I think they could dodge out of your way even. At least the Redeads were kind of straightforward. Once you got the Song of the Sun, you could just stun them. But still, I don't know. I still remember that scream in the back of my head. Ooh. Wolfos are cool though. But then again, I love anything that's like almost werewolf related. Oh yeah, yeah, because they were so fast. Because that was what, like right at was it when you were in the Lost Woods and you got to the Forest Temple? Is that where those showed up? I mean, I think they showed up at a different time too, but I remember they would like come out of the ground and then you just suddenly be surrounded by them. I feel like that would be a fun one to play again, maybe on screen, especially with friends, like adding in comments and stuff like that, because that made it kind of fun last night too. Even though I know that part with the puzzle that I got to that I did not read well enough and I took way too long on. That was probably kind of painful. Kylek, were you a big fan of some of the older Zelda games too? I don't remember if we ever really talked about some of those. But then again, I'm bad at keeping on a topic ever. So I'm probably jumping from thing to thing while I'm drawing this even. Alright, so I'm going to increase some of the line depth here too. Oh, okay, so you watched people play a lot of it. Well, even that's cool. So I like watching people play games too. It's actually kind of why I want to start doing this, because I watch so many people that do it, um, that I enjoy watching people do it on stream, and it's kind of almost like hanging out, and like when Bo and I were kids, we would all hang out in his mom's basement, and we would play games. I think the first time I ever saw Final Fantasy X was in Bo's basement because our friend Kevin brought it over, and obviously I was blown away by the graphics and the fact that it had like voice acting and stuff like that. If that tells you how how long ago that was. Link is a badass. Like, even without some of the items he gets, he's got like freakish strength. I mean, he can pick a boulder up over his head as a child. That's kind of impressive. And I feel like in Wind Waker he might even be stronger because he wields these like giant ass weapons that people drop. That's not even to mention Breath of the Wild. I mean, even though you can enhance yourself, like, he climbs and runs a lot further than most people probably should be able to. And he can chop down a tree in like 2 whacks too. So that's pretty impressive. There's actually a cool YouTube channel that I just started following. I think a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, where the guy he's creating these really amazing or not illustrations, animations, to basically fill in the story of Link after Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, like that version of Link. So I think it's called like the hero story. Let me see if I can find that real quick, just because that's gonna bug me if I don't remember what it is. Because everybody should watch that. Because I haven't watched the second. The Legend of Zelda: Hero's Purpose. So Hero's Purpose, that's what it's called. They just released the second episode. They're like 15-20 minutes each. They're so good. Yeah, it's making me want to play Zelda really bad. All this talk about Ocarina of Time. I really hope they remaster, or at least just port more of them over to, well, I guess any of them over to the Switch, which hopefully they'll do this year, since it's going to be the, what, like, 30th anniversary? Is that right? No, Zelda came out in 1985-ish. So, like, 35th anniversary. Because they did that with Mario, and I got that pack, which was awesome, because it had a lot of the 3D games on it. Like Mario Galaxy, Mario 64, which is freaking awesome. Mario Sunshine, I think, and I can't remember if there was another one. That would be awesome if they did that with Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. If they made it so that, what was the one that was like, it kind of retconned the Zelda timeline, and it was the very first game of the series after that, where they were in the sky. Skyward Sword? Skyward Sword. I never got very far through that one because the DM motion controls drove me insane, and I was really bad with them. So if they could make that with like Wind Waker, not Wind Waker, well, I guess Wind Waker controls, but Breath of the Wild controls. Just change the controls, make everything else the same, so that I can play it. Because as cool as some of those motion controls were, they were a little bit difficult for long play sessions and doing things precisely. Like, it didn't feel the same to play games like that. I can appreciate it for games that are meant for that, but when they like adjust a game that already exists and has had like certain control structures for almost decades, and then they kind of switch it up, it's a little bit off-putting. All right, so I think, well, no, I see some more spots where I need to adjust the line work a little bit, or add a little bit more detail. Just make the lines darker. I think that's okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and, let me see here. I think this is the marker I like to start with doing. It's like a purple. It's a R702. I like to do some of the shading with this. It's kind of almost like a grayish purple. I could do kind of like the lighter shadows with that, and then I've got another one that I like to go in with um, to do the darker shadows. So I'm just going to kind of fill in some of the areas with this. I know the quality on this isn't the best, so I'll probably just, I don't know how I'll get a better picture. I mean, I can definitely like post the image somewhere. I'll probably scan it in once we're done, and then oh yeah, I can scan it in, and then I can pop it on the screen, I think. So at some point you guys will probably have to wait for a few minutes while I go and scan it because my scanner's in a different room. Sorry for my dog snoring. She's sleeping quite to me. What was it? Sorry, it's really loud. Yeah, I think next week I'll pick a different creature to draw. Maybe the Knife Kids, unless maybe I run into another one on my next playthrough. Um, that's maybe more interesting. I don't know how many more playthroughs I'll have of Silent Hill 1, since I know those are kind of short games, but then again, I also took a lot longer than I should have yesterday to get to the point where I was because I kept dying and then spent way too long on that one puzzle. Um, so we'll have to see what other monsters maybe from that playthrough seem interesting. I thought these guys just kind of had a cool aesthetic. They didn't necessarily look the coolest in game, but like they weren't just like normal humanoid shape. Oh yeah, the different endings. I always forget about that, and I have a feeling. I know Claudia mentioned something about how when you pick up certain items, then it can change the ending, and I feel like I'm probably gonna mess that up because I just grab everything. But then again, I am a horror game noob, so you know whatever ending I get is what I get, and I can always play that again someday on my own, and then get a different ending and kind of look more into that because I don't want to like spoil myself on. Not that I haven't watched her play a little bit of this, but um, usually I'd be playing my own thing too. Like I'd watch her play games sometimes because they're really interesting, but it's also been a while. So I don't want to spoil myself by looking too much up ahead of time. These guys, I feel like it was okay to look up some stuff on them because I already ran into them, and the game doesn't really give you too many details about some of the monsters. But I don't know if that's just because that was in an era where they still had game booklets, so a lot of the story and um, explanation of the game and its mechanics and all that kind of stuff came from those instead of like being in game and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'll look some stuff up on these guys, and then if I run into another monster, then I'll look stuff up on them, and we'll kind of go from there like that. Just gonna keep getting the shading in. There would be really necessary shading up here, but I want a little bit, give them a little bit more depth. I'm gonna try to add some veining in too, so get a little bit further in. Oh, stacks of what books? The ones that came with the games in the case, or like the guides. I have a lot of guides too, but not for these games. The Zelda ones, like I almost wanted to like collect them, so I think I've got a Zelda guide for almost every single game at this point. Be cool to get some for some of the old Final Fantasy games. Oh yeah, oh man, I love art books. Like I'm obsessed with them. So if there's a collector's edition that I can find for an affordable price that has the art books, then I'll get it. Like the Skyrim one, so freaking cool. I got that one on sale for super cheap a few years ago, and that's probably like one of my favorite things because it came with that giant like Alduin statue, and then I guess there would be more shadows in here too. The art books, like a map, so cool. A little bit here, kind of like a dinosaur sort of thing. You just look and see what I think about the shading. Oh dang. What's platinum? I don't know. I'm really bad with new game terms. I don't know. Does that mean that you got like all the achievements or what's that mean? And were you Oh, the trophies, okay. Were you playing it on VR? Cuz I feel like I know I tried it in VR and it was a lot. Like it was so cool how different of an experience it was. But I'm also really lame and Elder Scrolls games, I'm horrible at finishing them. I love to play them, but then like I get like halfway through the actual storyline and then I never get any further. I just do all the side quests. All right, cool. I think that's good for this color of shading. I think that I'm going to use my darker purple and go in and add some of the darker shading. Yeah, I bet it would be harder to get some of those trophies in VR. But it's really cool how much more expansive and massive it feels. Like some of those early on dungeons, they don't seem too impressive by some standards. Like when you first play it on the PC, but then when you get into VR, like just being able to be in like literally in the game and looking around, everything is just so much more massive and impressive. That's what she said. I even found myself like purposely finding places just to just like chill out and relax because there were some like streams and stuff during some or near some of the towns. You just like sit there and listen to it. You could hear the like storms in the background nearby, like thunder or birds or whatever. So cool. VR's crazy. So just adding darker shadows in here, kind of giving it a little bit more depth with this darker purple. I want the eyes to be kind of glassy looking, just black and dull type eyes. Alright, so we've got that, and let me think here. I've got this kind of flesh tone that I used. Let me see what color that comes out as. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good pink color for these guys. Let's see here. So I'm kind of gonna go through here and add a little bit more. Kind of pink it in. I think this is a little bit too dark. Cool thing about this stuff is if you go over the purple, it kind of it still retains its own color, but then it makes it darker. It looks kind of cool. Honestly, I haven't used this one on this paper before, so hopefully I don't make it too muddy, but we'll find out. And then I'm going to also go back in with the jelly roller here in a bit and add some highlights and stuff to it. Because I like to have a little bit of the paper color show through too, because it's that kind of tan color, so especially with like a skin tone type creature, or pinkish type of creature like this, I feel like that would still come through a bit. Alright, so we got some decent color in now, since they're very pink and weird. Actually, I think before, let me double check and see what color this is. I think that'll be good. Before I go in with my highlighter more, actually, let me pop in a little bit more colors with these right here. Some spots that I feel like maybe I need to fill in a little bit more. I'm going to add some, try to do something, I don't like overdo it, but this one can kind of gross and gritty, because that's what it was originally. Go ahead and add a little bit of this into the darkened spots too. A little bit bloody where his mouth is. Add some of this kind of fleshy, bloody tone in a little bit to some other spots. Alright, and now, check to make sure that this is going to work. Okay. I'm going to go in with my jelly roller, jelly roll. Not anything super fancy, but go in and kind of add some highlights. Do some of the teeth here. And these are cool because you can get really fine detail with these and do like add some detail to like the eyelids, but also do like a wide area on the eye and try to get it looking like very, very glossy and reflective. Make some different areas stand out so it doesn't look quite so muddy after color markers on. Make some of these vertebrae type things stand out a little bit. Kind of makes it pop a little bit better. Yes, he does have the flesh of my character hanging from his jaws. That's basically what I made that to be. I was like, well, the number of times he killed me, he's probably got some parts of me there. I'm now part of him. He was, I feel like they were definitely the biggest pain in the butt. I mean, those the stabby kids were a pain in the butt too, but these guys were definitely, I feel like, my bane, especially because they do the stupid like hit and run tactic, which honestly for a game from back then, that's pretty good. That's pretty good AI. It's like, oh, I know when I've had too much damage, and I'm just gonna run away. Just what I should have done, but I didn't. I just kept on trying to kill him like an idiot. Go through and add more highlights so that it'll really pop once I'm done. It may not be super obvious here, but I feel like when I scan it, it maybe will look a lot cooler. I've used these for a few drawings now, and I really like how they come out at the end. Like I won't be super satisfied when I'm at the level where I've already gotten like the markers and stuff done, but then once I hit it with this, it just like, I don't know what it makes it instantly a lot better to me. And hopefully that will be the end product here, because I think this will be my last step, since I've already been going for a little bit now, hour and 20 minutes. I need to get better at drawing faster, especially if I get any more hits on my Fiverr. Because if I take forever to draw something, then it doesn't really make too much monetary sense. But I'm not doing this for me, I'm just doing this for fun right now. It pops. Keep doing the outlines here. Actually, I guess the veining in the wings would make a lot of sense, because those would be like skin membranes, so there'd probably be a lot of light coming through those and making them look really creepy. So I'm going to add some more highlights here. Let's do a little bit of cross-hatching for that. Alright, I'm getting pretty close to being done. And then I'll try to get the camera to zoom in on it, but I think what I'll also do is I'll go scan it in. That way you can kind of get a look at what it looks like with a little bit of better detail, because I feel like the camera isn't going to show stuff as well, and I just keep futzing with it. I think I'll add some more in here. Okay, so I keep wanting to add more stuff in. That's the bad part, is I think that's what they say, a piece is never finished, you just kind of give up on it. I feel like that's what I do most of the time. If I keep messing with it, then I'm gonna mess it up. But I keep seeing all the spots I want to kind of pop out a little bit more. Well, thank you, I appreciate it. Alright, so I'm gonna do, let's see if we can, I don't know if my webcam will come down like that, but don't know if you can see it very well. But I'm also going to I'm just going to go ahead and take it and scan it real quick. I say real quick, it will probably take me a few minutes. Um, so sorry, I know this part's going to be boring. Let me see if I can do like a right back sort of thing, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm going to figure out how to get this to show up real quick. Let's see here. I'm going to add an image, add source. Oh, that's a little bit too big. Sorry. Hopefully that's pretty visible. If you guys can see that. But that's the finished piece for this week. Hopefully next week I'll get a little bit better, since I'm going to be practicing a little bit more. Once I play a little bit and then draw a little bit each week. But yeah, that's it. Thanks guys for coming and watching me draw and talk like a dummy, and it was fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll leave it up there for a few minutes just in case. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hopefully, playing Silent Hill next week will go a little bit smoother, and drawing will go a little bit better. If you guys want to join in, that's pretty cool. It makes it a lot of fun when you guys are watching and commenting and stuff like that. Especially because, I mean, pretty much everybody that's done it, like, joined so far has been people that I know, so it makes it a lot more fun. Like, we can actually almost hang out in these days of pandemics and lame stuff like that. Thanks, man. Hopefully everybody has a good rest of their night. Thanks for joining. All right, I'm going to end it now. See you guys. Have a good week.